Hi everyone! I was watching the other day this great video by Nintendo Life on the best RPG ever made that is not available on Nintendo Switch. Of course, the guys there were talking about Chrono Trigger, that amazing 1995 JRPG that was developed and published by Square on the Super Nintendo as the first entry in the Chrono series. This is not the first case, of course, of great RPGs that are still not available on the Nintendo Switch. We are going to cover another series of Japanese RPGs that, although are still available on other Nintendo systems like the 3DS and Wii Virtual Consoles, are missing from the Nintendo Switch. This series especially was expected to appear on the Nintendo Switch Online, but up until today they are not, with no update or information from Nintendo. I am talking about the Mother series of RPGs as they are known in Japan, or Earthbound as they were released in the West. Mother is the video game series that consists of 3 role-playing video games. Mother of 1989, known as Earthbound Beginnings outside of Japan for the Family Computer or NES. Mother 2 of 1994, known as Earthbound outside Japan for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System or Super Famicom in Japan, and Mother 3 of 2006 for the Game Boy Advance. Written by Shigesato Itoi, published by Nintendo, and featuring game mechanics modeled on the Dragon Quest series, Mother is known for its sense of humor, originality, and parody. The player uses weapons and psychic powers to fight hostile enemies, which include animated everyday objects, aliens, and brainwashed people. Signature elements of the series include a light-hearted approach to plot, battle sequences with psychedelic backgrounds, and the rolling HP meter. Player health ticks down like an odometer rather than instantly being subtracted, allowing the player to take preventive action such as healing or finishing the battle before the damage is fully dealt. While the franchise is popular in Japan, in the West it is best associated with a cult following mostly behind the second game in the series, Earthbound. While visiting Nintendo for other work, celebrity copywriter Shigesato Itoi pitched to the company's lead designer Shigeru Miyamoto his idea for a role-playing game set in modern times. The contemporary setting worked against role-playing genre norms, and while Miyamoto liked the idea, he was hesitant until Itoi could show full commitment to the project. Itoi reduced his workload, formed a team, and began development by writing the script. The game, titled Mother, was developed by Ape, published by Nintendo, and released in Japan on July of 1989 for the Famicom, known as Nintendo Entertainment System outside of Japan. The game was planned for an English language localization as Earthbound, but was abandoned when the team chose to localize the second game in the series instead. Years later, the complete localization was recovered by the public and distributed on the internet. Mother received its official English language debut in June of 2015 as Earthbound Beginnings for the Wii U Virtual Console. Mother is a single-player, role-playing video game set in a late 20th century United States as interpreted by the author Shigesato Itoi. The game deliberately avoids traits of its Japanese role-playing contemporaries. It is not set within the fantasy genre and only enters science fiction for its final sequence. The player fights in warehouses and laboratories instead of standard dungeons. Instead of swords, assault weapons, and magic, the player uses baseball bats, toy guns, and psychic abilities. The game's protagonist, Ninten, is about 12 years old. The player can press a button to have Ninten check or talk with nearby people, animals, and objects, and uses a phone to save the game and transfer in-game money through an ATM. The game's story begins as Ninten discovers a music box and receives the journal of his great-grandfather who studied psychic powers nearly a century earlier. Ninten is attacked by household items and ventures outside to find a crazy world with hostile everyday objects and other odd events. Like the Dragon Quest series, Mother uses a random encounter combat system. The player explores the overworld from a top-down perspective and occasionally enters a first-person perspective battle sequence when the player chooses attack options from a series of menus. On their turn, the player selects between options to fight, guard, check enemy attributes, run away, use items, or use offensive, defensive, or healing psychic powers. The player can also set the battle on autopilot with the auto option. Critical hits register with the series' signature smash text and sound. Mother was the sixth best-selling game of 1989 in Japan, where it sold about 400,000 copies. After the success of Mother, the team behind it began the lengthy development process of the sequel. Earthbound, released in Japan as Mother 2, is a role-playing video game developed by Ape and HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System or Super Famicom in Japan. The second entry in the Mother series, it was first released in Japan in 1994 and in North America in 1995. Earthbound takes place in the year 1990X, right after the events of Mother in the fictional country of England, a parody of the United States. The player starts as a young boy named Ness as he investigates a nearby meteorite crash with his neighbor Pocky to find his neighbor's brother Picky. They find that an alien force has enveloped and consumed the world in hatred and consequently turned animals, humans, and objects into malicious creatures. A small bee-like creature from the future instructs Ness to collect melodies in a sound stone from 8 sanctuaries to stop the alien force. On his journey to visit the sanctuary, Ness visits the cultists of Happy Happy Village, where he saves Paula, and the zombie-infested Thread, where the two of them fall prey to a trap. After Paula telepathically instructs Jeff in a winter's boarding school to rescue them, they continue to Saturn Valley, a village filled with a species of creatures called Mr. Saturn, the city of Forsyth, and the seaside resort Summers. Meanwhile, Pooh, the Prince of Dalam, undergoes training called Mu Training before joining the party as well. Earthbound features many traditional role-playing game elements. The player controls a party of characters who travel through the game's two-dimensional world composed of villages, cities, caves, and dungeons. Along the way, the player fights battles against enemies and the party receives experience points for victories. If enough experience points are acquired, a character's level will increase. This randomly increases the character's attributes such as offense, defense, and the maximum hit points and psychic points (PP) of each character. Rather than using an overworld map screen like most console RPGs of its era, the world is entirely seamless with no differentiation between towns and the outside world. Unlike its predecessor, Earthbound Beginnings, Earthbound does not use random encounters. When the physical contact occurs between a character and an enemy, the screen dissolves into battle mode. In combat, characters and enemies possess a certain amount of HP or health points. Blows to an enemy reduce the amount of HP. Once the enemy's HP reaches 0, that enemy is defeated. If a specific type of enemy is defeated, there is a chance that the character will receive an item after the battle. In battle, the player is allowed to choose specific actions for their characters. These actions can include attacking, healing, spying, which reveals enemy weakness and strengths, mirroring to emulate a specific enemy, and running away. Characters can also use special psi attacks that require PP. Once each character is assigned a command, the characters and enemies perform their actions in a set order determined by character speed. Whenever a character receives damage, the health point box gradually rolls down, similar to an odometer. This allows players an opportunity to heal the characters or win the battle before the counter hits 0, after which the character is not unconscious. If all characters are rendered unconscious, the game transitions to an endgame screen asking the player to continue. Unlike other RPGs, the enemies are not killed but only made tame with the exception of the aliens. Additionally, as Ness and his friends become stronger, battles with weaker enemies are eventually won automatically, foregoing the battle sequence, and weaker monsters will begin to flee from Ness and his party rather than chase them. In towns, players can visit various stores where weapons, armor, and items can be bought. Weapons and armor can be equipped to increase character strength and defense respectively. In addition, items can be used for a number of purposes such as healing. Towns also contain several other useful facilities such as hospitals where players can be healed for free. Earthbound had a lengthy development period that spanned 5 years. Its returning staff from Mother included writer and director Shigesato Itoi and lead programmer Satoru Iwata, who later on became the president and CEO of Nintendo. Most of the other staff members had not worked on the original Mother. Most of them were unmarried and willing to work all night on the project. The game came under repeated threats of cancellation until Iwata joined the team. Mother 2 was designed to fit within an 8 megabit limit but was expanded in size and scope twice, first to 12 megabits and second to 24 megabits. The game was originally scheduled for release in January of 1993 on a 12 megabit cartridge. It was finished around May of 1994 and the Japanese release was set for August. With the extra few months, the team played the game and added small personal touches. Itoi had stated that Shigeru Miyamoto liked the game and that it was the first role-playing game that Miyamoto had completed. Mother 2 would release in North America about a year later. Although it was positively received by Japanese audiences, Earthbound sold poorly in the US. Journalists attributed this to a combination of its simple graphics, satirical marketing — you may have seen the famous "This game stinks" poster — and a lack of market interest in the genre. In the following years, and especially after the appearance of Ness in the Super Smash Bros. Series, an almost cult following began by dedicated fans. By the early 2000s, the game had become regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time. In 2013, Earthbound was given a worldwide release on the Wii U Virtual Console, making its debut in PAL territories. It was followed by the Japan-only sequel Mother 3 for the Game Boy Advance. Mother 3 is a 2006 role-playing video game developed by Brownie Brown and HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo for the Game Boy Advance. Taking place in the fictional Nowhere Islands an unknown length of time after the events of Mother 2, Mother 3's story is told in 8 chapters including a short prologue. The game begins with twins Lucas and Klaus and their mother Hinawa visiting her father, who lives in the northern reaches of the islands. During their stay, their residence, Tazmily Village, is invaded by mysterious forces known as the Pigmask Army. Hinawa's husband Flid is awoken by the Pigmask's forest fire. Upon learning his family has not returned, he searches for them and discovers that Hinawa has been killed by the normally docile Dragos while protecting Lucas and Klaus. As Hinawa is laid to rest, Klaus disappears to find the Drago and kill it to avenge Hinawa. Flint leaves home with Hinawa's father Alec in an attempt to find him. He encounters the Drago but doesn't kill it. He then continues his search for Klaus, leaving Lucas all alone with only his dog Bonnie to accompany him. Mother 3 is a single-player role-playing video game similar to previous games in the Mother series. The player controls a party of playable characters who explore the game's two-dimensional fictional world, primarily shown from a top-down perspective. While navigating the overworld, the player may converse with non-player characters, obtain items, or encounter enemies. Winning battles against enemies awards experience points to the party, which is required for leveling up. Leveling up a character permanently enhances its individual attributes such as maximum hit points, power points, offense and defense. Weapons, armor or accessories can be equipped on a character to increase certain attributes. Currency is introduced in the latter half of the game as Dragon Points (DP) earned by winning battles and used to purchase items. Mother 3 retains the turn-based battle system featured in Earthbound. When the player comes into contact with an enemy in the overworld, the game transitions to a battle screen. Battles are viewed from a presumed first-person perspective, showing the enemies against a distorted animated background. The player can assign each character in their party to perform an action such as attacking an enemy or using items to restore HP or PP. Some characters can utilize psychic-based abilities referred to as Psi, which includes stronger attacks and healing abilities and require PP to execute. Like Earthbound, combat uses a rolling health system. When one of the player's characters is injured, its HP will gradually roll down, similar to an odometer, rather than immediately decremented. This allows a mortally wounded character to perform actions like attacking or healing themselves as long as the player acts quickly enough. If a character loses all HP, it will become unconscious and cannot participate unless revived by another character. The player loses a battle if all characters become unconscious. The player will then be given the option to continue play from the nearest save point, but with half the Dragon Points on their person. Development of Mother 3 began in 1994 for the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo, with Shigeru Miyamoto and Satoru Iwata as producers. The team mostly consisted of members involved in the development of the previous Mother game Earthbound. Inspired by Super Mario 64, the team transitioned from the Super Famicom to the Nintendo 64, believing that they could also creatively flourish by making a 3D world without technical restrictions. However, their early specifications exceeded the capabilities and memory limits of Nintendo 64. Halfway through development, the team scaled back its large scope and changed the platform to the 64DD, a Nintendo 64 expansion peripheral that was later released only in Japan in 1999. Mother 3 was expected to be a 64DD launch game, but development shifted back to the Nintendo 64 after the 64DD's commercial failure. Shigesato Itoi announced in late August of 2000 that Mother 3 had been cancelled following a number of delays. In 2003, in a Japanese commercial for the compilation game Mother 1 and 2, Nintendo announced that it had restarted development of Mother 3 for the portable Game Boy Advance console. Itoi had believed that restarting the project was impossible, but changed his mind following encouragement from Mother fanbase. Nintendo subsidiary Brownie Brown developed the game with input from Itoi. While the graphics were changed from 3D to 2D, the story was not altered. Mother 3 was released on April of 2006 in Japan. Mother 3 was a critical and commercial success and received critical praise for its character development, stylized graphics, music, story, and more mature and dramatic tone than its previous installments. The game was never released outside of Japan, though it was generated a cult following. An unofficial English fan translation was released by the Starman.net internet community in 2008 and received over 100,000 downloads within a week. Mother 3 was re-released for the Wii U Virtual Console in Japan in 2016. The Mother series is regarded today as a cult classic with a large fanbase worldwide. Fans keep asking Nintendo for a Switch release for all three games, but the Big Red has been silent on the issue. It is true though that due to the series' nature and its numerous parodies on pop culture themes and actual companies, Nintendo has faced a lot of legal issues in the past. A lot of logos had to be changed, and even the costumes of the Runaway 5 band had to be replaced in order not to be similar with the actual Blues Brothers. Even the music and its licensing are currently posing a legal threat for the series. All of those refer of course to the possible Western release for the games, as the status in Japan is more lenient when it comes to copyright laws. There is an excellent article on earthboundcentral.com on the issue. I will post it in the description of this video for anyone who wants to know more on why legal threats are currently the biggest obstacle for seeing a release of the mother games on the Nintendo Switch. Hopefully, Nintendo will do its magic and we will be able to enjoy again this iconic series on a modern platform. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to watch my other documentaries that you can find on my channel, and if you like my content, please support the channel by subscribing and pressing the like button.